This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Talon Mix. It's our Smallville recap podcast. I'm Brian, here as always with my pal Zach. Zach, hypothetically, maybe not a hypothetical, would you say this is the greatest episode of Smallville of all time?
It's in the running. It's if we were to, when we get to the end of the show and we do our 5 nominees for best episode, I'm betting this will be in there. I would be shocked if this wasn't in there.
If it's not, we have some phenomenal episodes up ahead.
Right. I mean, I think we do, but also, yeah, I don't see this getting knocked out of the top 5 for me.
And we can take our time kind of talking about it because I don't know if we're gonna have that much to say other than it's really good when we go through the recap. So we can just gush about it. I was nervous going into this one. Not nervous is the wrong word. I didn't think it could like break my heart, but I remember really loving this one when I saw it. And it's always a little bit like, ooh, how is this gonna hold up? And I would say there's a lot of silly parts.
Right.
But I always like the silly parts about it. It's good silly. It's good to be silly.
This is kind of the tone that we get to in the post-Lex seasons when they really hit their mark as far as like good, silly.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Love that for us.
Yes. Yeah, so I think I mentioned this before. This is, unless I'm mistaken, this is the only season we did holiday episodes in.
Yeah, is that, I wonder, I was thinking about that because we talked about that a bit for the Halloween episode this year. We're about to hit 100 episodes. We're about to go into syndication. We should probably have those.
Maybe. I also feel like the WB and the CW, it was... like the way they aired them was maybe a little different. Like, I don't know, maybe they were done before like Christmas season or I don't know.
Interesting.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But
right.
It's interesting because they stumbled on the Halloween one. Certainly.
Right.
You and I think less so than most people, but still a stumble. And
we are some of the most generous people towards that episode, and we don't think it's a very good episode.
No, it's not a good episode. But Christmas, they hit out of the fucking park. I actually think this is a great Christmas episode of television. Not just a great Smallville. I think this is a great...
I think I'd maybe put it in my personal top 5 Christmas episodes of a show now.
Yeah, I watched this and I was like, why don't I watch this around Christmas more often?
Right. Yes.
It would slide so well into the other TV episodes I watched from like Community
you know what
and stuff.
I think maybe I was before we started doing this show, I think I was under the impression Smallville was more syndicated than it really actually was. And like, no, you can just watch one episode of Smallville and have a pretty good time, even if you haven't watched everything around it.
Right.
It's not a novel. It's not a chapter of a novel. It's a television show for teens that aired at, 8 o'clock on the CW. I will say, sorry.
I was just going to say, a lot of Christmas episodes of TV shows, Christmas is kind of an afterthought, or it's background, it's window dressing. This one, it really feels Christmassy. I feel like they were like, we're going to do this once, and we're going to really make it Christmassy.
This is a Christmas episode for sure.
Yes.
So I will say, we had texted a little bit thinking maybe we were going to do a bit. We humored doing a bit and It's a Wonderful Life on the podcast. And I got to say, every time we do a bit, we're never like, that was a great idea. I'm glad we did that.
Right. No one's ever been like, love the bit.
Yeah. No reviews. Like, wish they did more bits. Where did the bits go? Oh boy, if only we weren't doing a new project very, very bit centric.
I will say, back when we were doing this on what was the platform called?
Twitch. And
you did Red Kryptonite, Brian. Those were pretty fun. That was pretty fun.
We had an occasional good bit. I won't write off all the bits.
Yeah.
I think we're too mean to the bits now. God forbid anyone comes in for what the fuck are they talking about? This is a show with many eras. It evolves.
It really, it has. We've had like 3 or 4 already. Different eras of this show.
Yep. Just for us, pal. So we had considered doing that and we didn't, but gotta say, I think I need a little Christmas spirit today. I've been having one of those days, one of those couple of days. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's bad. Just kind of in a funk, a low groove.
Sure.
Kind of my patience is a little more like on the fritz. I'm a little more tired than I usually am. And like having a little bit of Christmas to talk about. I like Christmas a lot. And like having a little bit, I think it's going to bring my mood up in a big way.
And it's funny because I was sort of dreading watching the episode, even though I remembered it being one of my favorites because it's August.
Yep.
And the last fucking thing I want to do is watch a Christmas anything.
Sure.
But it is a testament to the power of this episode that, 30 seconds in, I'm like, oh, when is Christmas? How close are we to Christmas?
Yeah, I'm kind of ready to go. I'm like, I love Halloween so much, so I'm never in a rush to like get through Halloween.
Right.
But yeah, it is like, ooh, Christmas is fun. And I'm going to have like a little like almost 1-year-old I'm like looking forward to Christmas this year. I think it's going to be really fun.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
Rough Christmas for Lex, but
Yeah, Lex has kind of a rough Christmas. If you don't know what we're talking about, hi, welcome to our Smallville podcast. Lexmas is the 9th episode in the 5th season of Smallville. It's the 97th episode overall. It aired December 8th, 2005. So a little distance from Christmas itself. I wonder if they probably took, we have a big 100th. There's probably a break after the 100th.
Wait, no, this is December what?
This is December 8th.
I think they were done after that. I think it's a winter break and then they come back with You
don't think they end on the 100th?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
We could find out. Yeah, one click away. We could literally find out right now.
I clicked it. You are correct. The next episode, the 99th episode, will air January 12th. So yes, we ended things here for the mid-season.
Yeah, they leave earlier, and I think they come back earlier.
God, yeah, January is early to come back. 24 wouldn't come back till like February.
Right.
Do you remember that mid-season fucking break in 24, and that was torture?
Oh yeah, or Lost, any of those highly serialized shows, and you're just like, fucking shoot me. I need to know. And of course, they always leave it on a huge cliffhanger, you know.
Right.
Any episode, but especially the winter finale.
I'm sure I've talked about this before because I only have like 5 things that I talk about on repeat. 24 is one of them. And I rewatched the first season of 24 as an adult, and it was very funny to me how I didn't recognize it at the time. The mid-season break, they wrap up a bunch of storylines, and like they kill a bad guy, they get Kim back, and then they come back for the back half of the season, and they set up a bad guy who's exactly like the other bad guy. They kidnap Kim. It's the same storylines.
Yeah, yep. I
don't know how bad they did that throughout the rest. But
I wonder if that was like we don't know if we're getting more episodes after this.
Surely. It was an ambitious project, man.
Well, also,
there's a universe. This was a 24 podcast.
Also, if I remember correctly, it wasn't a huge hit that first season. It was a real DVD.
No. I didn't pick it up till season 2. Yeah. Which is funny of like the way TV was so different was it was on after whatever my mom and I had been watching before. And then it was like, oh, heard this was good. So we just watched whatever that episode was, got hooked on it, and then went to Blockbuster. We started getting the season 1 DVDs disc by disc. Kids, this is how we used to live. We went to Blockbuster.
24 was like the first one because the whole idea was if you miss an episode of 24, you're fucked. As far as because it's so serialized, you're not really because it's not you can really, pick it up, but it's not the kind of show that people generally just tune in. It's not like Law and Order or most shows before then,
right?
So without DVD, that show probably doesn't get any more than a couple seasons, but
probably not.
DVD that was right when DVDs of shows were coming out, and that's how people caught on. And
so we were going disc by disc, watching the first season while trying to reverse engineer what had happened in what we had missed of the second season so far. I don't think I ever actually went back and watched the front half of season 2. I don't think I've ever seen it.
That's funny because I watched season 1. I watched some of it when it was on, and then I fell off mid-season, and then I picked it up on DVD. And then season 2, I think I watched till the winter finale, and then I fell off of the show and kind of didn't really watch it much after that. But not intentionally, just like that was one where if you missed a few episodes, I felt like I was behind. And
my mom and I watched it late. We didn't like watch the whole thing, and then it hit the point where like a new season would come around, we'd hop back on, we'd make it a couple of episodes before never intentionally like I'm done, but we were the magic was gone.
That's something that we've talked about it before, I'm sure, but that we don't, no one has to deal with nowadays, which is with a lot of shows, you missed a couple episodes, you just had that gap forever in your mind until maybe years later you caught it on syndication. Right.
I remember this was I had borrowed your Smallville DVDs while we were in Vancouver, but I also borrowed your Friends DVDs. That was the first time I was, of course, very familiar with Friends, but that was the first time I had seen it back to front, the whole show in like a sitting like that. Because TV shows on DVD were a little more recent than the opportunity to do that didn't exist. But you were, I don't know if you remember this, your season 2 DVD was missing a disc, which wasn't a big deal because it's Friends. I didn't miss anything, but there were 4 episodes on that disc that I didn't see. So it's years later, and I catch an episode of Friends on TV, and it's a full, like, shaking my head, looking back from, like, I don't think I've seen this episode before. It was the one elusive season 2 episode of Friends I had never caught on TV before.
That's didn't like get to see gold. That's
and
like
I watched
finding gold.
An episode of Friends I had never seen before, and this was a couple of years ago. Actually, probably closer to 10 because I'm getting so old. But and the episode was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, but that's amazing.
They all move with the same rhythm, so it's not like it was like what. It was an episode of Friends, you know.
But on the subject of this, the way we watch things versus how we used to. I don't like nowadays. Most people, if they watch a show, they will watch the whole show, or at least it's by seasons. Like I watched a season of it, or rarely do you get like people who watched 2 seasons and then fell off halfway through a season, which used to happen all the time with this shit because you would miss a few and then be like, I'm too far back. And there was no way to catch up.
But right. I still do it. My wife gets so fucking mad at me. She'll be like, do you want to do the latest, like, blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I'm kind of good. I'm good. Be a movie. Be a movie.
I had a coworker recommend Schitt's Creek to me. And so I watched the first 2 seasons, and I was like, it was very funny. It was fun. It was like, the kind of show you watch while you're making dinner or something. And
right.
It's a sitcom.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm kind of done with watching a sitcom right now. And so I mostly like to watch movies. And then I told her,
I went through the exact same thing with Schitt's Creek. I did the exact same thing.
She was like, "Did you watch Schitt's Creek?" And I was like, "Yeah, I liked it a lot." She's like, "Oh, where are you?" I'm like, "Season 2." And she's like, "Oh, so are you going to keep going?" I'm like, "No, I'm probably like done for a while. I might take a break." And she was so offended. She's like, "Oh, so you didn't like it?" And I was like, "No, I watched 2 seasons of it. I liked it. It was fun."
Right. But like, I'm good. I'm done for now.
I'm done for now. I'll probably come back at some point.
Yeah. It's every night. That's the thing. I probably watched 2 in earnest. Liked it. Was kind of over it. And then every now and again, my wife will be watching it, and then I'm like, oh, this, and something will make me laugh, and I'll sit down and I'll watch the rest of the episode. I like it. I like the show. Right. But I don't need to just like a sleeve of fucking Oreos pounded into my fucking mouth. Like,
yes, exactly. And I have done it plenty of times, just like I've done that with Oreos plenty of times. But I do feel gross when I just consume one thing over a short period of time, and it's like the only thing I'm consuming. It feels it feels gross. It's called a binge for a reason, right?
Right.
And so
I'm hitting that point. I'm hitting that point. This whole summer, I've just been watching pro wrestling. It's the only thing I've been watching, and I'm finally getting the point.
You broke a chair over my head the other day. I was wondering what that was.
I'm like, it's been all summer. It's been nothing but pro wrestling. I'm finally hitting the point where like, I think this made me a little dumber, and still like it, but maybe I'm starting to finally be like, I think I need a vegetable. Like,
that's great. Yeah, I need something. Yeah, I need some greens.
I need something real here.
Yeah, watch a documentary or something. And not a wrestling one. I do.
Yeah.
I do, even now, if I watch a show that's like all the episodes are there, I usually pretty much hold myself to 1 per night.
Sure.
I
think it's good.
1 per night, watch something else, do something else. No judgment to people who don't do that, because I definitely didn't used to do that, but that's kind of my thing. I don't know.
An hour show, I'm absolutely a 1-er. A sitcom, maybe 1,
right.
2 or 3.
You can fire out a few.
But,
yeah.
Right. I agree.
I like to be able to sit with it a little bit,
I agree. That's where I really would. My wife's been rewatching Mad Men lately, and like, man, you know what I love? Really strong episodic television. Every time I walk by and she's watching, I haven't been watching it with her, but I'm like, fuck, this show's really good. Like,
right. But if you watch it in a binge,
sit with it.
If you watch in a binge, it all kinds of blends together in the end.
Yes.
And you're just trying to get to the end. Whereas if you do it in the blocks and kind of sit with it, I don't know. There's something that's a little more richer of an experience, I think.
I agree. And it's funny, that's how we've been watching Smallville this whole time.
Yeah.
Which has been a different experience than when I just watched it. I just binged through it, for lack of a better, which there have been a lot of ways this has been different, right? I'm much older than when I watched it at 17. I'm now 35, about to be 35. So that's different. I'm not crushing on everybody like I was then, and I wasn't like feeling it as hard. But it's also different to not get into that drift that binging can kind of create, that I definitely think I was in.
Right.
Is it better this way? Smallville specifically? I don't know. Truthfully, it might have just been best when I was 17 years old.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think even through our mid-20s, I think watching it this way would have been a very similar experience as far as our enjoyment of it.
Right.
It's
right.
also,
right.
you know, we're old and sad.
Yes. Yep. Bringing it back to wrestling real fast. Wrestling is kind of like SNL in that I was just watching a wrestling documentary where they talk about the Attitude Era, the 2000s, where, you know, you have your The Rock and everybody, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and people talking about how like that was when it was really good, man. It hasn't been good like since then. And like, no, I bet it was the best and the most real and the most like raw when you were 14 years old.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I asked myself that question a lot about a lot of things. Like, is this actually worse or am I just older? Usually the answer is I'm just older, but sometimes, like with The Simpsons or something, I'm like, oh no, it's not as good anymore, because I'll watch the old ones and be like, oh no, this is fucking hilarious.
Right. Yes.
Generally, the answer is things just aren't as fun. You know,
SNL. Sorry, has never been that. I say this as a weekly watcher. Has never been that good. Sketch comedy is a bad art form.
Well, it's always been as good as it is, which is
exactly
like one great sketch a week, maybe if you're lucky. And then Weekend Update, there's some funny jokes, but like that's a great case study, because every era they're like, this is the worst era. It used to be good, and I'm telling you, I've been alive for 38 years. They've been saying that the whole time, and then 5 years later, they're like, "Man, 5 years ago was so much better than it is now."
There are new 14-year-olds just discovering it every day.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, you can like chart map it out. There are ebbs and flows, and like some casts were stronger than others, sure, but it all averages out to about as good as it is now.
Yeah.
Should we get in? Man, we haven't ranted like that.
I know, it's like an old episode. Are we entering a new era?
I don't think we're gonna have that much to really get into, but we'll find out. So beginning the recap, I'm of course reading directly from Smallville.fandom.com. This is another one of these wiki articles where the dream sequences here are color coded,
just in case.
In
case we were confused.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is an unnecessary stylistic choice, Wiki, but you do you. You do you. You're a beautiful saint who writes our show for us. Lex drives into a dark alley to meet. I do love. I think very early on, we had kind of tried to like note keep a little bit, and we did our own sort of recap. And then very quickly, I was like, what if I just read along from the wiki? And that was the recap. And we have not examined that in years.
No,
we have not reevaluated. Nope, that just works. That's the one thing that hasn't changed. Is I'm not taking notes.
No. Plus, it gives us something to laugh about a lot of the time too. So
there you go. Lex drives into a dark alley to meet Griff, who is being paid to do whatever Lex wants to destroy Jonathan in the race for state senator. I believe this is listed as Granville, Kansas on the subtitle below. We've talked about it before. They mentioned Granville a couple times. Granville is a place in Vancouver. There's Granville Island, and I assume that's just this.
Yeah, it's just a reference
that place nearby.
Yeah. Also, not really an island, in case you thought because it's called Granville Island that it would be an island. It's not actually
that would be reasonable to think. Well, what do you know? Vancouver is a weird little city.
So Lex parks. Is it a Porsche? It's one of those kinds of like.
It's one of those Lex cars.
A car that costs like 5 years of my salary. You know, probably at least. He parks this thing in literally next to a dumpster fire. Like, there's no other cars anywhere near.
Yeah, right.
It's like the absolute worst part of town. he parks it and leaves
It's like the set of Rent.
It looks like fucking RoboCop. It's like, and he just leaves it. There's no other cars there. He just leaves it, no problem. Although there are some Christmas lights up, and Jingle Bell Rock is playing on the soundtrack.
Of course.
So it's very Christmassy.
That gets me every time, man. Throw Jingle Bell Rock as a needle drop. I don't think that's literally it, but it gets me every time.
I think it's like a just the jingle of it. It's not like like the real version, but it's like
Right. Yes, I think you're correct. Lex hesitates and says that he wants 24 hours to decide if he wants to go down that path. As he heads for his car, he is mugged and shot and left for dead on the street. I don't think this is a smart thing to do. If I were a criminal, is to shoot escalate someone? Your carjacking to murder of a very famous man. No. I'm willing to bet, and I know that car's just going to go to like a shop or something, but I think they could reverse engineer some stuff.
Well, also, he had already handed over the keys, so
yeah, right. There was right. One of them just got a little crazy.
Yeah, like Christmas crazies.
Those famous Christmas crazies.
Before that, when he goes to meet Griff, the guy who's going to get the dirt on Johnny K, he like goes into this. Is it a sewer? It's like a building with like pipes and stuff.
Right. It's one of the famous Smallville, Kansas pipe hallways.
Yes. And he's like, why did you have me come out here on Christmas Eve? And Griff's like, I don't make house calls. You know, you got to come to me. I'm like, does he live in this pipe place? Is this his home? He's just standing there and hanging out. And then Lex leaves and he doesn't leave too. He's like, I'm just going to stay here in the weird pipe hallway.
Do you want to, hey, it's Lex, the very famous, very rich Lex Luthor. Do you want to be like helicoptered to my mansion? Do you want to go for like a dinner somewhere fancy? A weird like sex club that I'm a member of? Any of the, no, you want me to go to
pipe hallway.
Your pipe hallway.
Hallway, yes. On Christmas Eve. Yeah.
On Christmas Eve.
to literally say nothing, to say I've got some real big stuff, and for
no
Lex
one
to be
on this show needs to say anything.
He literally is like, I got some big stuff, and Lex like, I don't know if I want to go there. I'm not sure. Let me think about it. That was a phone call.
That's a phone call. I got broken up with once, and I was living in Connecticut. The girl I was seeing lived in Brooklyn, and it was a very casual thing, so there wasn't much to the breakup, right? It was just, I don't really, we've been doing this for a couple of months. I think we're out of stop roads here. I'm good.
Right.
And, obviously in general, it's nice. It's respectful to break up with someone in person. In this case, she had called me. She was like, I would hate for you to come all the way into the city for a pretty simple, I don't want to date you anymore. She didn't literally say that, but that's a fact, which, yes, would be correct. Yes. Lex effectively went all the way to pipe hallway just here, meh,
all the way to pipe hallway, yeah. Yeah, I actually
don't know how far pipe, because this is not Metropolis, this is not Smallville, this is Granville.
I was on the opposite end of that once, and it was even less than that. It was like 4 or 5 days. I think I've told this story on the show. And
Let's hear it again.
We had like kissed. We had not done anything else. And this person lived like 40 minutes away. And I was kind of like already kind of like, I don't know. And I could feel they were the same way, but they invited me over and I was like, all right, I'll go hang out. Drove out there right away. She's like, I don't think this is, whatever. I'm like, great, that's fine. Why did you have me drive all the way out? Or you could have just called me on the phone.
You got 20 breakup bucks for gas?
Yes, exactly. I was like, I'm not mad about the seeing other people. That's great. But I mean, I was kind of on the same page. just a text would have been totally fine in this situation.
Would have been fine.
I appreciate you're trying to do the right thing, but you did the wrong thing.
There's nuance to the right thing, you know?
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to say that nuance starts at a half hour. Okay, so it's Christmas Eve. Lex is shot, left for dead on the street. Somebody save me.
He's shot twice, right?
He's shot big time. He gets shot big time.
He gets shot, and then he's like, oh, and then he gets shot again.
There's reason to believe this is a wrap on old Lex, and that would kind of solve Clark's problem, right? Or does Jor-El specifically need to kill somebody? Does Jor-El have to push the button for it to count?
Yeah, but Lex died, and Clark goes to the fortress. He's like, all right, so that takes care of it, right?
Huh?
He's like, well, you stopped.
Well, you guys haven't been close in like a season or two.
Yeah, you broke up at the beginning of this season. You
know. Are you sad enough?
I might have to half kill someone else you like. Is that okay? Just like a
they're gonna live, but they're gonna be fundamentally different.
Deal? Does that sound good?
There you go. Or he has to split the difference. Someone you don't care about like that much, like a real lower ranking cast member.
Chloe. It'll just be Chloe.
Chloe. Listen. You'll get over it. It won't fundamentally change who you are as a person.
What if I took Pete? Would that make any difference in your life whatsoever?
Pete's had enough, Jor-El.
But if
Pete's going to have a promising future. Pete's going to have a promising future as a spokesman for Stride Gum on Smallville.
Yeah. If Jor-El came to Clark and was like, "Okay, I'll take Pete," do you think Clark would be like, protest, or would he be like, no, okay?
Does he know the alternative?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, if he knew the alternative, he doesn't see Pete ever. I don't think they communicate.
No, I think they're done. I think it's a real the box. It's if you open this box, I fucking kill Pete. Clark's already like looking in the box. What? It is Christmas Eve. Lex wakes up, shocked to see a very pregnant Lana in bed next to him. There's a very nice, like it's a more brightly lit. I think there's like Vaseline smeared on the lens or a digital filter of it to give it that very like hallmarky kind of
yes
glow. It's very good.
That's how much of the show looks in the later years, actually. Interesting.
Oh, yeah, I've kind of seen that. I've kind of like dipped my toe into some of the later seasons and have noticed that. He also has a young son, Alexander. Lex lifts up his shirt and sees the scar on his side from the gunshot. I think it's funny here how Lana, still in Lex's like fantasy, his fantasy life, the life that could be, Lana is still an exposition machine.
I wrote that down. Like even more so because it's a different reality.
Yeah.
Like it's which is also why it's excusable because it's his fantasy or whatever.
What are you gonna do? Right.
Right. And it's his fantasy. So it's like, she's bringing him up to speed.
To be clear, everyone here is an exposition machine.
It is. It's true. But she has the worst of it. Because she's like, you tell that story every year.
Yep. It is a little like if you and I spoke like our podcast that we do, Zach.
Yeah. Remember?
He has brain dead. This isn't real. He's been shot twice and is a little stupid. It is not real.
We can agree on that, right? This is not any kind of alternate. This, without a question, this is in his head.
Though, I mean, I'm actually trembling back. There are sillier things that happen in this episode than this even being a possible premonition of the future.
Right, which are
but no, I don't think it's. I do not think it's. I do not think it's literally a premonition of the future.
What I mean is, I don't think if Lex did what his mom, the angel in this episode, is asking him to do, which is to like renounce greed or whatever. I don't think if he chose that path that this is necessarily where we would be headed.
Not literally. No, I don't think so.
No, right. Gotcha. Yep, I agree.
His dead mother, Lillian, appears to Lex and says that this is not a dream and this can be his life if he makes the right choices.
So she disagrees with us, but
yes,
doesn't matter because
like,
she's a figment of his imagination. So
she's biased because she's in it.
By
she
the
is
way,
not impartial.
Let's just get this out of the way right now. This is obviously a ripoff of the movie Family Man.
The Family Man, a movie I saw and thought was very boring when it came out.
I didn't watch it. I thought it looked boring. Directed by noted, really cool person, Brett Ratner.
Oh, great. Director of X-Men 3 and Red Dragon.
You just named two of his. You just named two of his better movies. Also,
I know.
Also, noted creep. Just put that out there.
Is he putting him on the pile?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, yeah. Good Brett Ratner.
Google Brett Ratner after this episode.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I believe Ratner was attached to a Superman at some point.
He was. He certainly was. In between, pre-Superman Returns. He was one of those.
Got it. Was he probably closer to like the J.J. Abrams one that didn't happen?
Yes, I think it was that same. Because it was like him, and then him and Singer basically swapped, right? Because he went to do X3 and Singer went to do Superman Returns.
Honestly, and had they, how different would the world be? Probably not very.
I think they both are received about as well, probably.
Yep,
X3
I don't think would probably be fine.
I don't think that there's more Superman Returns movies if Brett Ratner directs the first one.
Yeah, right. So there was something that I wanted to mention that I was kind of getting to it, and then like me, I just lose my train of thought, and then I'm like 24, because that's just how my brain operates. It's very noisy in here, but I remember when I was watching this for the first time, we talked about this a lot, and I think we've even mentioned it on the show, but a lot of my like 17-year-old viewing, I was like, remove all the conflict. Just give me Clark and Lex playing Xbox and like,
oh no,
let
we
me
had
watch
that conversation. We had that conversation at school where we were like, I would watch a show where everyone just gets along and is happy.
And like this episode that like drips that to you, and of course that would be a terrible show. Of course, I fundamentally understand that's not how a television show works, but give it to me. Give it to me.
But I do think if they made a show that was called Smallville, it was about these characters, but it was more like One Tree Hill or some shit where the conflict I would have
taken a Gilmore Girls where
the conflict is lighter.
Yeah.
And we're still all in each other's orbit and friends. For sure that I would have loved that. And I think you would have too.
Oh man, still keep the Superman shit. He's still gonna be Superman. Don't get rid of that.
I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine. But he doesn't gaslight everyone into insanity.
Yeah,
that's
actually, this is just the OC. This is just the OC. God, the OC's good.
That's the Elseworlds episode I want to see, where it's just One Tree Hill and like Clark didn't make everyone crazy and everything's just kind of chill. Uh-oh.
Ad playing on the wiki that throws you off.
Yeah, your volume went out for just a second, but you're back.
Okay, great. Here we are. Making a podcast. So we get this vision. Oh, so this episode was like the drip of that. Oh, it's going again. I don't want this ad. I'm telling you that right now. Wiki? I don't want to watch a video.
You don't get ads on our show unless you pay us.
Pay us. John Cena owes us, should send us Venmo me $10. It was John Cena talking about a car. Okay, so basically we get this vision of a potential future for Lex. Lex is then seen to be lying unconscious in an alley. At the farm, the Kents are getting ready for Christmas, and Clark has invited Lana to spend it with them.
Just real quick note here. Just when I thought the Kent farm couldn't get any more magical.
Oh, throw some fucking Christmas lights on it. Are you kidding me?
Boy.
What I would not give to have a fucking mug of hot cocoa and watch It's a Wonderful Life in that fucking living room.
Just be there for their Christmas Eve party. I won't say anything. Just let me be there.
Because it's so warmly lit. Let Zach and I hang out there silently, and then afterwards we're gonna cuddle up under the same Afghan on the couch. Silently, of course. It won't be weird. Yeah. It won't be weird, we promise.
Oh my god. Dude, I'll fucking sleep in the barn, okay? It's fine.
Clark gets an urgent call from Chloe, who is still at the planet. The scene shifts to Lex being transported to the hospital as the doctors try to save his life. He slips back into his dream.
So we skip over the scene at the house. Opens with Mama K smacking Johnny K's hand as he's trying to get some fresh cookies.
Good. It's so good.
And she says, "We already have enough politicians with their hands in the cookie jar."
I love how we still need to move the football a little bit. This couldn't be a self-contained episode. No. I guess if you were coming into this raw, completely, or like checking in after a while, because we're on season 5, you've mentioned Johnny K is running for something in the opening, and then like you maybe want to, and that's Johnny K,
right? Exactly.
And he's the one running.
Yeah.
And he's Holmesy, and this is not just this would be Lex ruining like a good family man.
Right. Yeah.
So actually, I do think it's important that they did that, even though it's so fucking dopey.
It's great. It's perfect.
It's so good.
Perfect.
I don't mean dopey derogatorily.
What time is it right now in the show? What time of night is it, do you think?
No, it's fully dark out, and they have a party starting eventually.
Yes, Christmas Eve, and we'll come back to this because a lot happens. There's a lot of travel. And the party's still raging when all that's over with.
Right. Does no one have like kids? Like you were able to get a sitter on Christmas Eve?
Although Christmas Eve, I could see a Christmas Eve party going late if it's like kind of the tradition, like everyone goes home.
I could see a family Christmas party going late. I don't know about like a friends and neighbors.
Right, that's true.
Maybe. I don't know. I appreciate it. I appreciate a good party community. Okay, so we are now in green text. We're in green text, everybody. Lana says that it has been 7 years since Lionel cut Lex out of the family fortune. This is undercutting how cute the scene is, despite Lana's Exposition is the word I'm looking for. But we get Lex. Lana says something to the effect of, "You promised we'd go get a Christmas tree. You're the one who always wants to wait until Christmas Eve." And then they're piling out and they're going to the minivan. "Remember, we're on a budget." And Lex is like, "Oh, budget?"
Yeah, that's fun though. He's like,
"It's so good. I love it. I love it. It's so good." And at some point, Lana's like, "It's time to embrace that middle class lifestyle."
They have the nicest house I've ever seen.
I know. It's so fucking annoying. I will never own a home.
Also, it's a fun little bit because Lana's going to stay home because she's pregnant with their next child. And Lex is trying to figure out how to do the kid's seat in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. And then he gets really frustrated with it. It's fun. It's a fun bit.
It is fun, and it is a fun bit. I say this as someone with a child. with a child and no car. Why are you not just leaving that in the car?
Right. Good.
That just stays in the car, and then you put the kid in it. Do you just do that every single? That's not necessary. You can just leave it in the. It doesn't do anything else. Maybe it's a new one.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a very cute little exchange. Lex takes his son to go buy a Christmas tree. At the tree farm, Lex sees Clark and Chloe. Everyone's getting a fucking Christmas Eve tree?
Right, yeah.
That's like mid-December at the latest.
Oh, you want to enjoy the tree. Like, you're going to throw it out, like, the next day.
I know. It's like, do you not spend your entire December desperately trying to hang on to some hope of, like, or some vision of Christmas or memory of Christmas from your childhood?
Right.
If I get the tree now, it'll feel Christmassy and I won't feel the crushing pressures of adulthood. Okay, so Lex runs into Clark and Chloe. Clark is now a full-fledged reporter at the Daily Planet, and Chloe is publishing a book next month exposing Luthor Corp with Lex's help. It's a cute scene. It's a funny. Tom Welling is doing the Tom Welling thing, and I think it's on purpose, and I think it's very good.
Well, I know what you mean, but explain what you mean by Tom Welling thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to articulate it better than that. People who watch the show, I think, know what I mean. There's a certain uncanniness to it, a certain... Oh, can you help me out? Can you think of anything? A better way to articulate? Because I'm struggling.
Now I'm not sure if I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's I in my heart know what I mean, but it may not come.
Well, he's definitely playing like Lex's idea of grown-up Clark.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, it's not like real Clark. It's not quite real Clark. And it's not quite, despite him working at the Daily Planet, it's not quite like Clark as Superman,
right,
or something like that. It's like Clark as professional 9-to-5 adult.
Right. I will also say the Clark Chloe thing. They're so cute together that like part of me wishes we played with that more. I remember more of that than there actually is. I've been now rewatching this show once a week for 2 years, 3 years.
2.5.
We started in 2020.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of time, and there's not as much of it as I remember.
No. But Allison Mack is really good in this scene.
Yes.
She's really good. We've talked about this before. She always really thrives in the episodes where she gets to play a slightly different version of herself, like where there's some kind of toxin that changes personalities, or it's an Elseworlds episode. She's always really good in those.
And I'm sure that it all wasn't utilized in her leading of a sex cult where she branded people. Okay, in reality, which is both noted in text and that we've returned to black text, Lionel is speaking with the doctors at the hospital and demands to speak to the doctor in charge in order to push a risky surgery. Are we in Metropolis or are we at Smallville?
No, we are in Smallville because that doctor works in Smallville. That's Dr.
So Granville must not be far from Smallville.
I was going to say Granville doesn't have a hospital, apparently.
I guess not.
They had to bring him to Smallville. It
burned down in the RoboCop riots last year. Granville's a naughty place.
Granville's
only pipe hallways and RoboCop.
Yeah, it's fucking Escape from New York. They've walled it off and they just send prisoners there. I like the storyline here is the doctors at Smallville are like, Lex is going to be paralyzed. because he got a blood clot near his spinal cord. And Lionel's like, no. We're going to ship him off to my specialist. He doesn't say that, so we don't get a tally yet, but that's what's happening.
Oh, it's so fucking close.
It is, but I don't know.
Really close, but it's not it. It's not it. No.
He's like, I'm going to take him to specialists in Metropolis, and they're going to do this risky surgery because my son's going to walk. And the point of that plot in this episode is like Lionel is playing God and being very risky with Lex's life, and it's irresponsible. But as someone who's watched this show, it's like the sanest thing you can do is to get him out of Smallville Medical. Just be like, no good can come of this.
No, yeah, they will just leave you.
He's going to be paralyzed.
What they do for bullet wounds. They leave you in there and then lose you.
Your son's going to be paralyzed. I'm getting a second opinion. Get the fuck away from my son. I'm choppering him to Metropolis right now. Lionel's a hero in this episode.
This is a fucking clown hospital. That's fake. Okay, in Metropolis, Clark meets Chloe at the planet, and she explains that her Teamsters went on strike, and the thousands of presents they collected for Toys for Tots will be undelivered unless he helps her out. Fucking woof.
What? I have so many questions logically about this. Mm-hmm. Why is Chloe in charge of this? First of all, that doesn't make any sense.
None.
It also doesn't make any sense that these presents, they haven't figured out what to do before Christmas. Like the date for getting these to kids is before Christmas. I can tell you that. I
love toy drives. That's a very fun Christmas. I like specifically the ones with like a tree and you get like a specific kid's like wish list. I've always taken pride in those because I'm like, I don't want some kid to get like Scuba Batman. No one wants Scuba Batman, you know? Like I'm gonna make sure this kid gets like good Batman shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I always take like very big time, and then I've also volunteered at like drives, the actual drives where they hand these out weeks before Christmas.
Right. Yes, weeks. And you know what they don't do, Brian? Also, they don't break into people's houses,
your home with them,
and leave the present under the tree.
Definitely not.
It's not how that works.
Nope.
The parents aren't going to wake up and be like, "Where the fuck did these presents come from?"
Were they expecting? Like, what did they? So we are spoiling that later. We will see Clark. So simultaneously, of course, it's extremely good that Clark has to deliver presents on Christmas.
Oh, no, we love it. We love the episode.
We love it. But we see Clark delivering presents literally under Christmas trees. Did people, if I, needed to participate in a toy drive for my children, and that meant a strange man who I don't know coming into my home, I would maybe be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I would be like, no, it's okay. We're good.
Did they leave keys? How is this even working? What's happening? Christmas magic, Zach. That's what's happening.
I feel like the parents would be calling the Daily Planet like a few days earlier, like, hey, I thought I signed up for this toy drive. I haven't received anything. I'm a little nervous because Christmas is coming up.
Oh no, you're gonna send in you're gonna send in a
Teamsters. The original plan. Teamsters are going to deliver this under my tree. Is that the plan?
I guess, and then they're all on strike, so I was like, fuck them kids. I also can't imagine that.
Right, the Teamsters. What Teamsters?
Just be like, this charity we've organized. Fuck off. Union strong, baby.
Merry fucking Christmas. Oh, you want your present? You're gonna cross the picket line, little guy.
Little fucking shit.
See what happens.
Fucking shit.
See what happens to you.
You gonna cross a fucking Teamster right now?
Look what happened to Jimmy Hoffa.
That's where you're going to end up, fucking 7-year-old. You wanted Batman, and now you're fucking Jimmy Hoffa. Now you're fucking Al Pacino in The Irishman. So let's see. They collect toys for tots. I don't think they literally... The wiki says Toys for Tots. That is a literal organization that I do not believe is name checked here.
Right, yeah. I don't... Is it? No, I don't think so.
No. If this was literally Toys for Tots, we would have gotten a lot of Toys for Tots.
No, it is. It is, but not like officially. Clark says, you said Toys for Tots, not Toys R Us, when he sees how many presents there are there. Got it.
That's a stretch wiki.
He does say it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. I take it back.
Here's the first of my time questions.
Yeah.
Clark, of course, has super speed and can get to Metropolis in no time.
Right.
However, surely he's telling Lana or someone that Chloe needs him and he's going to help her.
We don't address it. We address Chloe says whatever thank you for leaving Lana on your first Christmas together with whatever you told her. Which does not specify he's going to Metropolis to help Chloe.
But later, I believe she does say, Chloe told me you helped her with the presents. Now, maybe that doesn't imply going all the way there, I guess.
And then breaking into people's homes.
But Chloe is at the house at the party. Did she drive 3 hours to get to that party?
Or did Clark do his famous fucking piggyback? Freeze his friends?
Yeah, he did a little piggyback and just zoomed her over there.
And broke her fucking neck. Yeah, I think maybe there will be no answers here for us. I think maybe, Zach, I think this episode might be silly.
In the best possible way.
Oh, of course. I once again, nothing but respect for my Smallville Christmas episode. Clark agrees to help her distribute the toys. While zipping through the city, he sees a man dressed in a Santa Claus costume about to jump off a building with a liquor bottle in his hand. He says he was going to jump because the Christmas spirit is dead. Clark objects and tells him how he gave up his first Christmas with Lana to help Chloe deliver toys. When Santa falls off, Clark saves him and sends him on his way. So there is actually a... and I'm not saying this episode should have done it differently, because I love this episode. But there is kind of a famous couple of pages of a Superman comic that goes around of Superman talking someone off a ledge, them coming to him and like giving a big hug. And like it's kind of a canon Superman moment in my brain, you know? I love that this episode doesn't get any deeper into that. It's just like, Christmas! No one does Christmas! There's no more Christmas.
Well, it's not just some random guy, Brian. It is, as it is implied.
No, it's just a random guy. I don't know what you're talking about.
This episode strongly implies.
I don't know what you're talking. No.
That this gentleman is the real Santa Claus.
I love it. I love every time that happens. My favorite trope is, was that old man actually Santa?
Yeah. Every show's done it. Yeah.
My dream, my actual dream, I can die happy. I don't need to be paid. I will cross a picket line to do it. This is the only thing, is when I am age appropriate, I would love to be in an episode of television, a Hallmark movie, The Old Man Who's Actually Santa Claus. It is my actual dream.
I thought you were going to say in real life to trick some people into believing maybe you were actually Santa Claus.
That too. I am quickly approaching mall Santa, vagueness of like, it didn't end up working out. But last Christmas, I was asked if I would be interested in being Santa for like a thing, an event. And I'm like, oh, that could be like my whole thing. I'd fucking love that. I could go real hard into that.
You would be great. You would be great.
I think I would. I think I'd do all right.
If it is the real Santa in this episode, which I strongly believe it is, does he live near the fortress? Like, are they neighbors?
I hope so. I hope they just like, hey,
I wish in later seasons we explored that. We did some episodes where Clark, like, Santa comes over with like brownies or something, like a welcome to the neighborhood.
Or is it more of a like Santa from his fucking like little workshop watching a crystal fortress rise up? Like, there goes the fucking neighborhood.
Yeah, like destroys the reindeer's like house. Like,
God fucking damn it!
What the fuck? This used to be a nice place.
There's fucking aliens. Come on.
There's always shit going down in there. Laser beams.
Fucking laser beams. Santa, there's no time for fucking laser beams at the North Pole. Come on. Ho, ho, ho. So Santa falls off the roof, Clark saves him.
Did we just come up with a great comic run for Superman and
Surely, in the entire history of DC Comics, Santa and Superman have met, right? I'm Googling.
Right, but I'm talking specifically them being neighbors who kind of have tension. This is...
I like that. Yes, I also like that specifically. I do. All that, or at least the first thing that comes up is a tweet. Sorry, X. An X? I don't know what the new Twitter thing is.
Yeah, but they didn't think that through.
You think? I think a lot of this hasn't maybe been thought through.
I'm getting in trouble for a controversial X.
Yeah. Is a clip of Justice League Unlimited that implies that Clark Kent believes in Santa, which, you know what? I like it.
Why not?
Why not? They're neighbors. Why wouldn't he?
A witch possessed his girlfriend last year, so
anything's on the table.
Could be a Santa.
Okay, Dr. Scanlon explains to Lionel that Lex will most likely be paralyzed from the chest down because he is too unstable for surgery or transfer. Yes, you are exactly correct. Do not trust Smallville Medical. There is no reason to. No. They probably thought that when they came in, just like, he's bald. That means the things are related. The hairs go down through your body and control your little legs.
Like, he has that conversation with Lionel, and then you just hear him go to the next room down and have the exact same conversation with the next person. And then the next room, they're like, God, I have a broken pinky. I don't think I'm going to be paralyzed.
That's his clipboard. It's just the first page. And so he's just going into every single room, just like never like flipping open the page.
Also, where do you get the balls, doctor at Smallville Medical, to be like, how dare you question my diagnosis that you would want a second opinion? Like, you lost bodies here earlier this year.
Right. And I also assume, just throwing out there, I don't even mean this disparagingly, it's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve night. Your family's off having a party, but you took the Hippocratic Oath. You're here. You get paid a lot of money. You understand the exchange that you have made. So you're on duty tonight, maybe even tomorrow. A rich man comes in and is like, I'm going to take this fucking guy elsewhere. And you're not going to be like, yeah, hey, go with God.
Right. Exactly.
Good luck out there.
Yeah, maybe. Most doctors, I think, welcome a second opinion. They're like, yeah,
right.
Great.
Yeah, good luck. Hey, Merry Christmas. So,
yeah,
hope for
you're
the
still
best.
paying for the things I did here.
Yeah, right.
So
anyway, go with God, luck. You very good rich luck. Man.
Yeah.
Give me that again.
That's how you know it was a dream and not like a real alternate reality. Because Johnny K he's not going to become that politician-y.
Right. Right. He says that I'm just going to start from the top here.
Okay,
just
my
in
bad.
case. No, you're good. In the alternate reality, Lex and Lana and Luther go to the party at the Kent's house. Jonathan Kent is now the current state senator. He says that Lex is the best man he knows and announces that Lex will receive the Kansas Humanitarian Award. It's Lex's legal name is Alexander, correct?
Yes.
It's funny that his humanitarian award that Johnny K gives him a little peek at. It does say Lex Luthor on it. Oh, it's
preferred name.
Stuff my dumb brain notices.
Also, it's a dream.
It's a dream.
It's not alternate reality. I disagree with you, Wiki. It's a dream. Johnny K would never have the slick back hair, and
of course.
So, real quick, I just remembered the Santa scene when Clark catches him. He rushes down to catch him. Santa goes, "Ho, ho, holy cow!"
Very good.
I thought it was
very
great.
Good.
I thought Santa, the guy who played Santa, was good in this. Everyone is really good in this episode.
This is a really good episode. It's I don't think it's coming across just because our whole shtick. We really, really like this episode. It's not ironic. It's not a bit.
So
I really
good.
like it.
Yeah, like I said, it's a good episode of TV, not just a good episode of Smallville.
All the silly stuff we're pointing out wouldn't change a thing. I'm having a blast. I think the silliness adds to it because I think Christmas is cheesy. Christmas is a cheesy time.
I'd like to say, I feel like this season the race for MVP is wide open, but Michael Rosenbaum is really
the same thing.
Staking his claim here. He's been strong all season. He hasn't had much to do, but when he does exactly what's asked of him, but in a really good way. So I think he's the front runner after this episode.
I agree. I think there's some. This is a really, really good Michael Rosenbaum episode. He plays really, really well in the slightly befuddled, a little behind the curve, trying to catch up, but also really likes really enjoying what's happening and really hopeful about it. This episode is the first one, at least in a while. I won't say that I haven't maybe felt this before. Man, Michael Rosenbaum leading Nan is something I think we missed out on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. He was the second choice for Jeff Winger for Community.
Right.
Which obviously, right choice, perfect.
Right. Especially now in retrospect where an actor helps mold the eventual direction of a character. For sure.
Right, exactly.
For sure. I wouldn't change much about Community aside from an entire season of it. But
it's perfect. Yeah. The gas leak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say he's out in front now. Tom Welling is also really strong this season. So is Lionel, or obviously John Glover's fantastic, and he might make a late push. And I think Allison Mack is doing great work. She doesn't quite have enough to do for MVP status, I don't think, but she's
It's not Allison
strong.
Mack's fault, it's the script fault, usually, that she's not usually in the nomination or in the running.
Do you think we could get her to zoom in, accept an award? Has she fallen that much that she would?
I'm going to throw out there, of the main cast, I think, hear me out, for free, no. Not at our level. No. Always Hold On to Smallville could maybe get her. But for the price of a cameo from Michael Rosenbaum, I bet we can get Allison Mack on.
Yeah. But are we going to attempt to get Michael Rosenbaum to just accept the award via cameo if he wins?
I think it'd be really good.
He does do cameo.
I think it'd be really good, and I think he would do it. And then obviously that would be legitimately him coming on the show. That would count.
Do we have to tell him we're going to play it on? You're probably not allowed to use those cameos.
People do. There was a full like mobile game advertisement of some sitcom celebrity being like, I fucking love this game, and you can see the cameo watermark on it because we live in a dark time. I don't think it's a cameo rule. I think that's a case-by-case basis. I think, and maybe I'm being overly generous to our own show, I think if we fully explain what it was and said he could just have fun with it and like say our show sucked
and
or whatever.
We'll still give you money.
Yeah, I'm sure he would not mind 30 seconds of his voice playing on our podcast, you know?
Awesome.
This might be the time. For him to legitimately, obviously, excite. Is it as fun if we're just completely open? Like, yeah, we gave Michael Rosenbaum $100.
It is. It would be as fun.
It is.
Should we talk about our plan we concocted to advertise our own show on their show, or we save that?
That's going to be, and let's talk about it at the end of this.
Okay.
Because this is going to be a new official campaign.
Okay, great.
This is so good. This is so good. Okay, so hang on. Don't go anywhere. Okay, Lex steps outside where his mother's spirit is. He marvels that he's never been happier, and she tells him that he could have this happiness in reality if he makes the right choice. Sorry, I burped right into the microphone. He doesn't understand, but when he asks for more information, she disappears. Clark approaches and muses that he and I'm a total sucker for two buds outside while a party is inside, you know?
Especially if it's a magical glowing patio.
Every fucking time I'm like, yes! Two dudes having a nice chat while a party's going on inside. So good. I'm a sucker for any like wedding scene where the wedding's inside and two people are talking. Especially if it's two dudes, especially if it's two bros.
I was going to say it doesn't have to be dudes necessarily.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. But like, I don't know, little bonus points. Just because I can relate.
Right.
As of course, the broiest, most masculine of dudes. So Clark approaches and muses that he and Lana didn't work out because Lex became the man she could love. However, they are still on good terms. Their conversation is interrupted by Martha, who reports that Lana has gone into labor. Now having experienced someone going into labor firsthand, it's a lot of sitting around your house and waiting. It is not as TV shows depict where like, it's go time. It's a lot of like, it's happening. We should probably go to the hospital in like 2 days.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It might not actually happen nothing's going to happen for 24 hours.
It's a lot of sitting on your couch and watching the person you love more than anything be very uncomfortable for a while.
Right, yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it.
There is nothing you can do. This is just biology is unfair.
Oh, so maybe you can tell me, when your baby came out, did it have a full head of hair when it came out right away?
No, she had some.
This baby has a toupee of hair. This baby has the full amount of hair.
Oh yeah, was fully a like 6-week-old. Yeah.
Yeah, and also not covered in any goo, just like little 6-week-old baby. Although it is Lex's dream, so
I don't think I've talked about this on the show. But so if most of your familiarity with childbirth is TV shows where they hand you like a 3-month-old slattered in grape jelly, and they're like, oh, and it's all fine, and the character who just gave birth's vagina is not ripped open all the way to their asshole, and to just make one terrible painful hole. What they have to like actually prep you on, like, in all the classes, like, look, in so few words, that baby's gonna come out and it's gonna look fucked up.
Right,
it's gonna look fucked up. And it's one of like the greatest moments of my life. I have never been like just not feeling love in a way I didn't like. It opened up a new chamber of my heart I didn't know was there. It truly was one of the most intense, beautiful experiences I've ever had. That kid came out fucked up looking, and I'm sitting there going, uh-oh, she looks weird. Uh-oh, my baby's a fucking fucked up looking. So be ready for that. My baby's adorable. Heads up. Nope, they come out purple and weird, and then it's also, you don't, in TV shows you immediately get like that scream. It's immediate. It takes a couple seconds for them to, get like take a breath in to then expel, because they haven't had to do that before. So they have to breathe. That's a very long couple of minutes for your purple baby to be sitting there.
Yeah.
After a very intense 48 hours.
Ugh.
It's a couple seconds where you're like, uh-oh, my life is bad.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. Everything's fine. Fun experience. Not fun experience, but beautiful and wonderful.
And gross.
And gross. So gross. It's the first person to know my wife and I were pregnant was my barber. We weren't telling people for a while, and I just wanted to tell fucking somebody. And so I told my barber. And he's an off-the-boat Greek guy, and he's like, Brian, I want you to know, they're going to tell you that, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. It's not beautiful. I have 3. It's disgusting all 3 times.
Yes. Love that.
And you know what? He was right.
I love that.
Okay, their conversation is interrupted by Martha, who reports that Lana has gone into labor. Lana delivers a baby girl on Christmas Eve. However, she starts to rapidly lose blood. Lex goes to Lionel in the Luthor mansion to beg for resources to save his wife, but Lionel refuses to help them because Lex betrayed him 7 years ago by dropping out of the Senate race. This is how you know for sure this is not an alternate reality. A, Lionel has been on camera opposed to Lex's Senate race.
Yeah, he's actively trying to get him to drop out.
Right.
He's supporting Johnny K.
I don't know if Lionel Luthor passes up that chess move, like having that over somebody,
No, of course not. He 100% would do it, and then it's like, you owe me.
He would make it doesn't matter what Lex would have done. Lionel would make sure Lana had the best healthcare in the world.
Yes.
To then hold that over Lex for the rest of his fucking life.
Yep. Because if he does this move, it's over. Like if he doesn't help her, it's
checkmate.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tells him that but that said, John Glover is so fucking good here, and the wiki does not communicate how good it is.
There's great.
Lex, paraphrasing here, is like, how can you not help the mother of your grandson, of your grandchildren? And John Glover looks at him and goes, how can I have grandchildren when I don't have a son? And it's so fucking good.
But he says it and then goes back to his computer. Like, I got other shit.
Yes. It's so
fucking cold. Ice cold.
Oh.
But it makes sense. It makes sense as a dream because that's how his dad is in his mind after all these years of fucking with him.
And has been. And his father probably has been. It's like, once again, that's not quite a Lionel move, but we get it. We get it. Lana dies and Lillian appears again. Lex tells her that he doesn't want this alternate reality because everyone has ever loved has died. Rosenbaum given some real, like, this is on his, like, his MVP reel here.
It's on the reel.
I remember this really, like, breaking my heart when I saw it for the first time, and it didn't not this time.
No, it is. It's so sad, man. All this guy wants is to be loved, and he's been really dicked around, and
hasn't had it great. The man dressed, and we're back in black text. The man dressed as Santa Claus appears at the Daily Planet and offers to help Chloe with the gifts because Clark was willing to give up his Christmas with Lana. After Chloe reluctantly accepts Santa's help, he and all the presents disappear. Back at the Kent's party, Chloe tells Clark about the presents disappearing and says that she thinks that he may have possibly have been the real Santa Claus. Clark and Lana spend their first Christmas together as it snows. I love that. Okay. Was it? Whoa! And it's really like the guy's like, I'm going to help with those presents, and then they're gone. Bitch, that was Santa. Santa canonically exists in Smallville.
I mean, it's not a stretch.
Not at all.
Okay. Let's say the first time we see the Kents at the Kent farm in this episode, the sun just went down. So it's like 5.
Right. Okay.
Chloe clearly drives herself to Smallville after the events with Santa.
Right.
That's a 3-hour drive.
Right.
So generous. We're being generous here. It's got to be like 11 o'clock.
Right.
10,
which, isn't that
10
crazy.
or 11 o'clock.
10, I would say especially 10 is not that crazy. You can still have a drink.
Right. That's
you
Clark,
participate in a party.
Clark ran to the planet. Basically, the episode was taking place in real time, if that's the case. Right. The interactions with Chloe and Santa.
I have a question, Zachary. I have a question. I'm just realizing this now. So let's say Santa canonically exists in Smallville.
Yeah.
Generally, a Toys for Tots-esque program is to create a good Christmas for kids of families with fewer means, right? And it's a really wonderful resource, and so glad it exists. If Santa exists, so if Santa was like, "Fuck those poor kids," this is a capitalist holiday, bitch. Ronald Reagan says hello. Or is that why he was drinking on the
roof? Ronald Reagan says hello.
You're going to learn a lesson from this about fucking Reaganomics, bitch. Okay. Lex wakes up with Lionel at his bedside. He is upset with Lionel for ordering the surgery with very low odds of survival, asking him, "How dare you play God with my life?"
Wouldn't you be like, "Good call, I can walk"?
Yeah,
Thank
wow, hey, that worked
dice.
out. Thanks. There is a line there about, like, you were willing to risk my life because you didn't want to, like, a cripple for us. He uses the word cripple literally in the show. You didn't want a cripple for a son.
Right.
Which is a good little balance there. I do like it in the episode.
No, it works. It works. I honestly, but I don't know. Do you think that was Lionel's motivation? I don't necessarily. Maybe that was a part of it, but I think he also was like.
Yeah, I think Lionel's a little bit evolved past that, right?
Right. Yeah, I think
that's a younger Lionel move.
Yes, he does care. I think about Lex. He just also thinks Lex is dangerous, and he's got 100 other motivations too because he's Lionel. But.
Who are we to presume Lionel Luthor's motivations?
He probably doesn't even know some of the time.
No. He just starts talking and then hopes he gets there.
He's an improviser.
Right. So when Griff asks Lex what his choice was, Lex decides that he will do anything it takes to win the Senate race. Lex says his only wish is to live happily ever after, and the key to that is money and power, because once you have those two things, you can secure everything else. In her reflection in the window, Lillian cries over the choice Lex just made and then disappears. I love this. I love the idea. Obviously, a good villain has a little bit of like a understandable element, and like, I'm gonna do evil because it's gonna save the people I love is obviously like really, it's, the Anakin Skywalker of it all.
It's so complex and good, rather than like the Gene Hackman Lex, which is like real estate.
Right, which serves its purpose in that movie. Don't get me wrong, but
yes, I love it, but it's not like. This is so good, and it's a great.
People talk about Gene. We've talked about it when people talk about like Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, like it's Heath Ledger as the Joker. You know,
not.
Like shut up.
It's not. Yeah,
Gene Hackman didn't give a shit.
But this episode is a great way to sort of boil that down and make it like a choice he's making. This is like a pivotal moment for him. He's making this choice.
This is it. This is like a page has been turned in the Lex's like psyche.
Exactly.
He has made a decision that he hasn't had to make in 100 episodes of the show.
Power is a means to the end of love and happiness, and he's going to learn that that's wrong, or not learn, but it's going to be wrong.
It's going to be wrong. Let's see here. Going through some stuff here. Featured music this episode is just The Spirit of Christmas by Ray Charles and The Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy by Chiaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, fuck, dude. I'm fucking dumb as a bag of rocks because you said that like I should know that.
No, just because that's the Nutcracker. Sweet Tchaikovsky. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
You're not.
That
you're
did not live in my brain.
You're not dumber than a bag of rocks. I just sounded it out, Brian. It's real easy. Tchaikovsky.
No. Well, I would know that because I'm dumb as a bag of rocks.
Dun, 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 dun. You know why they had that? Because it's public domain, baby.
There you go, baby. That's how we go. That's how we go. We don't have that Lifehouse money for Christmas. Let's see here. Just looking for any fun facts. I don't think there are a ton. This is the first episode of the series which depicts Lana dying. It will not be the last.
What? It might be here 2 episodes away from another depiction of Lana dying.
Already? 2? Oh, right. I remember now. Let's see. This is the second time Clark wears a hat in the whole series. This episode bears a strong resemblance to the film The Family Man with Nicolas Cage.
Strong resemblance. That makes it sound like an accident.
Yeah, right. It was like, let's just do The Family Man. Hey, we can make a good episode of Smallville out of that. Oh, this is funny. The people who own the farm that serves as the establishing shot for the Kent farm make a cameo appearance at the Christmas party.
Oh, that's cute.
That's fun. Nearly 100 episodes for them to show up in the background.
Interestingly enough, I think anyone in that, I think they were inside, like in the set.
Oh, sure. You use my home in a show? I'd like to be in the first season, please.
Yeah. But I'm saying they drove into Vancouver for this. It wasn't like it was one day they were filming out at the house and they were like, hey, do you want to be in this?
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because, the interior set is not inside of that house. You're absolutely right. The 2 doctors in this episode are named after production crew members. That's always fun.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. The male mugger in the beginning of this episode is played by Jorgito Vargas Jr., who was the Navy Thunder Ranger on Power Rangers Ninja Storm.
Oh, shit. All right.
There you
How
go.
come we didn't know that? What the fuck?
I should have. I have no idea what Power Rangers Ninja Storm is. That... that's kind of it that I'm seeing here. For like sometimes the really good ones, there's not that much to say. There's not that many fun facts. It's just a really good episode of Smallville. I think it's certainly, one could argue, the best episode of Smallville.
Yeah. I mean,
I need to think about it. I need to review.
The only reason that it wouldn't get that title is that it's not like a typical, it's an Elseworlds episode partly.
Sure.
So I could see that being a knock against it for someone. It's not for me because it's so heavily impacts the real world stuff.
Clark's B story is still pretty beefy. It's
totally,
a beefy B story.
And the Lex stuff really informs his character going forward a lot. So,
man, I love this one. I think it completely holds up. I'm not 17 anymore. That's the reality. So it didn't hit me as hard.
Right.
But
I traditionally don't like alternate reality episodes because I feel like the stakes are so low.
Sure.
Because it's like, we're just going to go back to the real world. But this one, they did a really good job of making the stakes real world stakes because
it informs the real world Lex as a character in a very important way.
The decision he makes here is going to inform the real world Lex. So it's really well done.
Absolutely. Extremely well done. Just credit where it's due. This episode is written by Holly Harold and directed by Rick Rosenthal. Holly Harold, what episodes has she written? She was a producer and writer. She wrote 9 episodes. She wrote the season 3 episodes Magnetic and Obsession. Obsession's a great one. That's an Alicia episode.
Oh yeah, that's the first one, right? Yeah,
yes,
that's the first Alicia one. Wow, she's an all-star.
Yeah. In season 4, she wrote Facade. That's the plastic surgery episode.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a fun one. That's early on season.
Pariah, also in season 4.
Alicia. That's Alicia.
Another Alicia episode. And she wrote, obviously, Lexmas. She'll write another season 5 episode, and she writes a couple of episodes scattered throughout. And then I believe she hangs on as a producer throughout.
Well, she's doing great work.
One. She's got a great track record, a great batting average. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for us tonight. Just as I suspected, the Christmas spirit is flowing through me. I said I wasn't in a great mood before. I'm in a great mood now.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Brian.
And Merry Christmas, and it's September 1st when this goes up.
Do we want to tease our endeavor for advertising on?
Okay, so what I want to say real fast is thank you for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. We also, if you're inclined, appreciate a little support. Obviously, ratings and reviews are a big help, but we do have a Patreon. It's $5 a month. We try to churn out as much bonus content as we can, which admittedly is not much, but we're doing what we can. So we do have Zach. Would you like to lay out the idea?
I'll just set up the beginning part.
Great.
I do occasionally listen to the second best Smallville podcast. It's called Talkville. It is hosted by Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling, 2 actors in this wonderful show. At the end of every episode of that show, they read off the names of their patrons. And so I noticed that many of these people don't have real names, but they're like made up funny names or whatever the person wants to be read aloud. And so I texted Brian, hey, it would be maybe some good advertising for our show if we became patrons and had our name be like, listen to the Talon Mix or something like that. And they would read it off every episode. But then I went onto the Patreon and looked, and that's only for like the super cool highest rung of patrons who pay $100 a month,
which is buck wild amount to pay for a podcast. That is a buck wild.
That's insane,
amount.
Especially for a podcast hosted by some people who I'm guessing have some residuals once in a while.
Once in a while. So what we would like to do is we would like to reach this tier of patron. So we are basically asking if you're interested, if you think this would be funny. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. If you would like to help us have Michael Rosenbaum or Tom Welling say, listen to the Talon Mix on Talkville, we will be setting up a Patreon tier. Maybe we'll set up a couple of tiers to make up for a couple of different. Unfortunately, I don't think Patreon can be pay what you want, but maybe a couple of tiers. I'm not quite sure how the pay structure will work out. If you would like to contribute to our fund to give Talkville $100 to say, listen to the Talon Mix.
Yes. And we have to we have to say Talon Mix podcast because there is famously there is a CD of the Talon Mix which we're named after.
Right. I think we need to come up with a really good piece of bonus content that will only be available to people who are contributing to that fund.
Yes, agreed.
Here's a question. I'm thinking this out loud. We have talked about, Zach, you have never played Pokemon, correct?
Nope.
A very long form video of us playing, you are not familiar with this, but the people listening might be, a Pokemon Nuzlocke Smallville themed run, I think would be worth some people's money if they wanted to contribute.
Whatever it takes.
I think maybe that's the move. I think maybe we'll get working on that. This is so dumb. I don't expect it to happen. We have a couple of people on our Patreon. We are, of course, so appreciative of the silly use of your money. But if you want to be even sillier,
we're just rolling the dice, like on the off chance that a millionaire listens to our show and is like, that would be funny. Great.
We in no way are we like, I really hope somebody does this, unless you have it sitting around and it's not going to go to anything good.
Exactly.
Anyway.
If you have a lot of disposable income and you're looking for something to do with it that would be kind of amusing, this is great.
This would be great. So you can find a link to our Patreon and all of our other general stuff, like our Discord, in the description of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I'm Brian, here with Zach. Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
I do, and this is not about the show Smallville. This is about real life. Is Santa real?
Good night, everybody.